So I'm currently working on a video about Pokemon, but since that video will likely take some time, I wanted to continue the tradition of making some sort of ranking video after each big release. And while I had a couple of ideas in my head, I figured making a Pokemon related video would make sense, since I'm working on that said video, and also because it's my favorite franchise of all time. But to decide what Pokemon related list I should make, I wanted to look at my shitty old videos first, to see what I've already done, and there's a video I made over a year ago, which I consider to be awful, but would make for a great topic to dig up and revive, that being my top 10 favorite Pokemon. But I didn't just want to simply stoop down to the levels of such a complete loser. What I want to do is make a far more difficult list that will truly show off how much of a Chad I've become over time. So instead of showing off my top 10 favorite Pokemon, I want to show off my top 100 favorite Pokemon. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, I lied. Before we actually get to the list, there are some rules I obviously need to set. So the first thing you may ask yourself is, how in the hell did you list off 100 Pokemon that could be your favorite without wasting multiple hours of your life? And my answer to that would be the Favorite Pokemon Picker website, which, while not being entirely accurate, still makes finding your favorite Pokemon a lot easier. Okay, but now we actually get to the rules, and there's only a couple. First off, this is the visual I will be using for the entire list, where I spent a short period of time talking about each Pokemon. You may notice that in the example, I've shown both the normal Pokemon and its Mega Evolution. There are 3 exceptions to this, however. That's where I consider a Pokemon's Mega Evolution or Gigantamax form to be better than the Pokemon it's based on. In another example, you can see 2 Pokemon from the same evolution line occupy one spot in the list. And this is because I like both Pokemon around the same amount, and it would be redundant as hell to talk about both Pokemon at different times. So I hope that answers your question, and now we can officially get this video to a start. Wait, why is a lamp on this list? So when I used the Favorite Pokemon Picker, Bayleaf didn't show up, even though I knew I liked it, so I guess it can stay here. I honestly have no idea what to think about the design of Ultra Necrozma, but his theme is catchy as hell, he's super fun to use in battle because of his stupidly high stats, and he has a fun battle in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Aurorus is just one of the most majestic Pokemon I've ever seen. I honestly have no good reason for liking Diancie as much as I do. I mean, it looks cute. When Gen 8 was announced, I was and still am a huge fan of birds, so in the peak of this interest, I found this thing to be the weirdest yet cutest thing I had ever seen, and that opinion has yet to change. Just take what I said about Cramorant and replace weird and cute with intimidating and badass, if not a little too edgy, and that recipe will give you Corviknight. This, along with Charizard, is an absolute classic, except with Blastoise, I don't think you're allowed to hate it. I find myself to be more of a dog person personally, but how can you not find this thing adorable? I know this is going to be one hell of a hot take, but Grovyle looks way cooler than Sceptile. Now, while Deoxys is one of the most popular Pokemon, at least from what I've seen, I never found myself particularly fond of it. Defense form looks really dumb, normal form looks okay to me, and speed form is admittedly pretty cool, but not only is attack form fantastic in battle, but it's also really cool looking. Somehow, Poipole looks both really cool, mysterious, and cute. Too bad its evolution fucked that all up. 2 words. Felsteiner. Wait, you actually want me to talk about Mega Beedrill? Well, that's all I have to say. I still find it really funny how I prefer this over Corviknight. This has to be one of the most underappreciated designs I've ever seen in Pokemon. If I had any sort of actual attachment to this Pokemon, then it would certainly be higher, but that design is so good. Even if the internet ruined this Pokemon, I honestly can't dislike it. It's truly one of the classics of the series, even if it's criticized for its human-like appearance. Which is funny because it's not even in the human-like egg group, it's in the amorphous egg group, meaning that instead of breeding of Pokemon it actually looks like, it instead breeds of garbage, sludge, poison gas, slugs, ghost, punching bags, sand, eels, and fetuses. I just thought that was funny. You know that if it wasn't for the anime, Infernape wouldn't be here, but regardless, I honestly can't deny how awesome it looks. I just really like turtles. Man, I didn't know my Naruto OC was in Pokemon. Honestly though, this has to be one of the coolest looking of the bug types. For the longest time I've slept on this Pokemon, but a couple of years ago I used it in battle, and I can confidently say that I like it now. You can't possibly look me in the eye and actually suggest that the Chad Gigalith is inferior to the Virgin Golem, especially once you compare their shinies. I think my Gen 5 bias is really starting to show. Back when Sun and Moon were out, I would have put this guy in my top 20, but times sure do change. If it wasn't for that fucking obnoxious Spectral Thief move, I'd actually have this guy higher in the list. But let's be honest, that design is awesome. I am legitimately surprised by how quickly Inteleon is starting to grow on me. Now, of course my starter of choice will always be Cinderace, but at least Gen 8 gave me a magnificent second pick for a starter Pokemon. Now, moles are fucking annoying, but this is how to make one hell of an appealing mole. Too bad I'm 2 times taller than it. There's Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, and there's, I don't know about any fighting style that's the equivalent of a Beyblade match, or a fighter whose last name is Top. So that debunks that stupid-ass theory. Insert what I said about Lycanroc here. This has to be one of the coolest middle stages for a Pokemon. I know everyone likes Gardevoir, but I personally find myself preferring the design of Kirlia. I think I'm the only one who prefers this Pokemon over Trevenant. I swear, this is literally just the Gen 5 version of Lucario, and I'm fine with eating all of that right up. For me, Decidueye is the Inteleon of Gen 7. Fantastic second pick, but personally not my starter of the region. This has to be my favorite fossil Pokemon. Too bad its typing and stats suck, because I'd love to be using this thing in battle. While I believe its pre-evolutions outclass it and its design is kind of simple, this still has to be one of the coolest Pokemon I've ever seen. Okay, I know it's Charizard, but come on! Pawniard is such a good pre-evolution. It's both cute and perfectly sets up Bisharp. Rhyperior has to be one of the most overhated Pokemon in the entire series, but I love it. It's basically what would happen if Rhydon was actually cool. It's so cute! As soon as I saw Scorbunny, I knew it would be my starter in the Galar region. So thank God Cinderace didn't disappoint, although its arms are a little short for my taste. Grab to down throw to forward air to up B must be one of the most satisfying combos in Smash Bros. Also, this thing is adorable. Why would anyone ever drink hot cocoa when you can drink Tapu Koko? In all seriousness, this has to be one of the coolest Pokemon in the game. This Pokemon couldn't be more weird, but that's why I love it. I love how they were able to translate such an amazing concept into a Pokemon, and that Mega Evolution amplifies it so hard. Insert what I said about Diancie here, but replace cute with well-designed overall. I have no reason to like Aegislash this much. Also, I'm pronouncing it this way because the official pronunciation is fucking dumb. I like Delphox and Braixen about the same amount, but for different reasons. I like Delphox for its awesome design, and Braixen for how adorable it is, especially in Pokken. I think I'm the only one who likes them both, though. A real hot take here, but Jolteon is the only good Gen 1 evolution. It just screams cool. I know it's both Charizard and fan service for Pokemon, but I don't care. This is awesome. Glaceon is, in my opinion, a perfect embodiment of what an evolution should be. It's cool, cute, and elegant. What a way to start the halfway point, especially when it's the most badass penguin I've ever seen. Okay, Eevee has to be one of the cutest things I've ever seen, especially its voice. Wow, a good Pikachu clone? No way! At first, I ironically liked Bidoof, but over time that love started to become a lot more genuine. Wait, what do you mean I like Bidoof because of that shitty Bidoof Sane series I made? Cyndaquil is pretty much your near-perfect first-stage Pokemon. Larvitar is adorable, while Tyranitar is a badass menace. Too bad Pupitar fucks it all up. Togetic must be one of my favorite middle stages. Grabbed Uproad Thunder. Yeah, if it wasn't for Smash Bros, Pichu wouldn't be here. So, I heard you like Mudkips. I still find it funny, but out of all this fantastic evolution line, the middle stage is my favorite. What a wonderfully weird Pokemon. Also, this is the best monkey Pokemon, don't at me. I was very surprised to find out that out of all the Gen 8 Pokemon, my favorite is Hatterene. Well, I guess that goes to show how none of the Gen 8 Pokemon really did it for me. Crocodile, despite of its really stupid name, has to be one of the coolest Dark-type Pokemon. Like a Scavalier, I've always slept on Galvantula, but then I tried it in battle, becoming one of my favorite Sticky Web users. And as a result, I used one in my Gen 8 team, and I have no regrets. Anime girl in a bucket. That's precisely what this shit is, and I have no complaints. Back in 2014, this was my favorite Pokemon, and at that point, I suggested that if I were to make a YouTube channel, my name would be Cobaliot Master. Thank the fucking lord that never happened. Scrafty has to be one of the most clever Pokemon I've ever seen. The Hoodlum, who is a lizard, is just hilarious, and the fighting dark typing suggests that while it knows a fair share of fighting techniques, if it were to fight another fighting type Pokemon, it would get its ass completely handed to it. It's so cute! Wait, didn't I already use that one? At one point, Vileplume was my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon, but nowadays its simplistic design is too effective for its own good. I know it ruined one of your childhood favorites, but who gave a flying fuck about Electabuzz anyways? Because this is one hell of an improvement. Funnily enough, Azumarill was at the number 10 spot of my previous list, but now that I value competitive a little less now that Gen 8 completely fucked it over, it now suffers one of the most severe drops on this list. I just really love sheep. I can now be sure that Dodrio is not only the best bird Pokemon, but also my favorite non-Alola form Gen 1 Pokemon. This is probably the most popular inanimate object Pokemon out there, and I can very easily see why. Such an awesome design. Originally, I was going to pick Litten as my Gen 7 starter, but then I saw Incineroar and wanted to incinerate myself. So I'm glad Primarina did a near-perfect job at convincing me that suicide because you think a Pokemon looks like shit is a pretty damn embarrassing way to go. So according to Bulbapedia, there's apparently a Pokedex entry that states that Frostlass freezes and kidnaps men who hike in the snowy mountains, but it only kidnaps men it finds handsome. So I got a hell of a lot to be worried about. Flygon is so shut up. It's still gotta be one of the best dragon types though. A really cool looking Pokemon that gets higher solely because Ash used it. Man, trying to find a female Salandit is so annoying. Thank God it evolves into this. Scizor straight up is the coolest Pokemon in the entire game. Its design is near perfect, and it's the only reason it's so high up. Wow, I never knew a name could be so accurate. Also contrary, just contrary. A mushroom dinosaur thing is such a cool idea. This is the Pokemon I least expected to be as high as it was on this list. It does a perfect job at embodying beauty, though. Man, I didn't know that my Kung Fu Panda OC was in Pokemon. Such a cool design, though. This is probably the first Pokemon I'd go to the mall with, A-tier fashion sense. It's so good that you can find a Lurantis costume in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I always thought that Glaceon was my favorite evolution, but apparently not. Sylveon is adorable as hell, though. If Scolipede existed in the real world, I would be fucking terrified of it, but thank God it's not actually that way. To be honest though, this has to be one of the coolest looking Pokemon I've ever seen. This will probably always be the best regional form that Pokemon has ever created. I feel like a broken record at this point, but I can't stress enough how much of a badass this Pokemon is. And the honorable mention is Gallade. This looks exactly like the type of Pokemon a superhero would use. I know a lot of people would rather evolve their Corellia into a Gardevoir, but for me, it will always be Gallade. What a way to start the top 10. I've always loved the menacing but approachable design of Haxorus, but I never knew how much I liked it until now, and as a result, this is all I really have to say about my 10th favorite Pokemon. For me, Lilligant is the embodiment of a grass type. Elegant, gorgeous, weirdly adorable. What else can I even say about it? So in my original top 10 favorite Pokemon list, Bayonette was at number 4. Well, it's safe to say it dropped by quite a significant amount, but I still enjoy its fantastic backstory, and I still find it very ironic that I myself have a Bayonette doll, so let's hope I never toss it, or I'll be more than dead. Goodra is already a fantastic Pokemon, but if Ash didn't catch one, then I could guarantee you that it wouldn't be in my top 10. As a result, though, Goodra finds itself here, starring in an episode so good, it brought me down to tears. A year ago, Bisharp wouldn't have even been in my honorable mentions, but it has just been growing on me so much as of late. First off, this design has to be one of the coolest I've ever seen, and the fact that one of my best friends thinks it looks like my favorite animal, the chicken, is just really funny to me. Also, it's shockingly good and competitive. Even with that Garbo speed stat, and just spam Sucker Punch after a Swords Dance and you've just won. So to kick off my top 5 is Meloetta. Now, as a guy who loves music and even makes some of his own, I think a music-based Pokemon is just the coolest main ever, and while there has been music-based Pokemon before Meloetta, I feel that she is easily the best of the bunch. Snivy and Servine are for me the best starter Pokemon ever, and while I don't like Superior as much, I can't deny that it wasn't an awesome way to end off the evolution line. Snivy looks like the smuggest and most arrogant creature I've ever seen. It's such an innovative take on a starter, and I love the direction she's taken in things like the anime and Pokepark. As for Servine, I'd say it's my personal favorite, nearly a perfect Pokemon. With the praise I gave Snivy, the Snivy line, I think it's quite obvious that each Pokemon after it is at least an 11 out of 10, and you'd be completely right. Ampharos was already one of my favorite Pokemon because at the time I just loved sheep, but then its Mega Evolution came out, and I went from loving it to adoring it. Honestly, this is probably my favorite Mega Evolution, and while it may look stupid to some people, it's the exact reason I love it as much as I do. It just looks so majestic to me. In my original top 10 favorite Pokemon list, I had Lopunny at the number 5 spot, so you can imagine my shock when I found out it was my second favorite Pokemon. Now, when Lopunny came out, I never really cared for it, but when Gen 6 rolled around, it got a Mega Evolution that looks both adorable and badass, especially since it's a ton of fun to use in battle. Also, that shiny is actually perfect. And number 1 is the least predictable choice I could have possibly imagined. It's Lucario. Yeah, of course I put myself at the number 1 spot. Who do you think I am? Dumb? In all seriousness, I think it would be a good place to start to explain why Lucario is my favorite Pokemon, since just by starting the video, you would have already been able to tell what it was Lucario. So I first discovered Lucario when playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl as a kid. I didn't quite know what it was, but its design was intriguing, and when I figured out it was a Pokemon, I just loved it even more. Fantastic design, great lore, fun to use in battle, and for those reasons, Lucario isn't just my favorite Pokemon of all time, but my favorite fictional character to ever exist. So, that is my top 100 favorite Pokemon. This video was exhaustive to make, primarily because of how many Pokemon I had to talk about. So if you enjoyed the video, then a like would be more than appreciated from me. But I'm obviously also very curious to hear what others people's favorite Pokemon are, so I would love to see a top 10, top 5, or even just your favorite Pokemon listed in the comments below. But what's more reliable than people's opinions on Pokemon is people's opinions on this video, as I'm always trying to improve, and viewer feedback is without a doubt the best way you can help me do that. So if you have any problems with this video, then please respectfully tell me them, with the exception of the editing, since it was intended to be lazy, so this video could actually come out. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll make sure to see all of you next time. One of the most satisfying combos in Smash Bros. Fuck, why is... Are you fucking kidding me?